and welcome to our final installment of the wuliwoolee podcast. I'm Erica.
I'm Carolyn.
I'm Areem.
I'm Christina.
Today, we're going to talk about what it feels like to be graduated.
Right.
Yeah. Carolyn, that sounded so fake.
Cries.
We've all graduated undergrad, and so I guess the very first question, just to get a feel of the room, is how does it feel to have graduated? Do you feel anything in particular, or is it more like,
Yeah, I don't feel that different. That's also because I know I have another year of grad school, so.
Yeah, I think because for me, I feel like if the process was throughout senior year, I was like figuring out what I wanted to do next year, it might have been different, but like I knew that I was going to grad school from the beginning, so it was kind of like not much has changed, and also knowing that I'm still here in Ann Arbor, so it's like still a good feeling to like say like, oh, like I actually graduated high school or college. Well, I did both. Finally graduated college, and yeah, seeing like, wow, I don't know, like freshman year you think like it seems so far away, but now we're here, so
Yeah. I mean, it feels nice. I don't really feel like it's much of an accomplishment for me personally.
Yeah.
Because I feel like my major was not that hard. So I feel like
Hey,
other people suffered more.
Oh, no, you guys still did a lot of work too.
Yeah, I feel like lucky in the sense of like, I feel like I had a lot of privileges or like didn't have to go through as many challenges as other people who like may have had more issues with like mental health or like financial things or like family things that graduating like what is a little more of like they had to overcome all these challenges to get there. So I guess I do feel grateful that I like had all these blessings and privileges. But I think just with the feelings of graduating itself, I just feel sad that everyone's leaving mostly, like dealing with the idea that like we'll be separated and in different places is definitely hard.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's sad thinking that I won't be living with you guys next year. It felt like, I mean, we only lived together for 1 year, but it was like, oh, because of COVID, we spent every single second together.
That's true.
And it'll be weird not having you guys around 24/7. In terms of graduating, I feel accomplished. I'm like, yep, yay, it's over. I like similarly, I don't think there was there weren't too many like hills for me to climb over. But I think there were little speed bumps along the way. I'm feeling good. I'm like, yeah, whatever happens next will be fun. Yeah. Do you guys have any favorite memories in the past 4 years? But if that's too hard, we can just do favorite memories of senior year. But throughout your college experience, what memories stand out to you?
Okay. One of my favorite memories is at night when Christina and I wash our faces in the bathroom and we talk. I think what I like about that
from this year.
Yeah, just in general. Yeah, I guess this one's from this year. I think what I like about that memory is that Christina takes a really long time to wash her face, and she also can't like do anything else while she washes her face. So I know she's forced to have this conversation.
So Carolyn corners me in the bathroom at my vulnerable moments of my life.
But I feel like for some reason we like, I think during the day, when we're busy or it feels different, but like we can always have like those conversations at night, and like it always feels like a nice relaxing thing.
Your parents have gone to bed. And
yes, it's because Areem and Erica are always asleep by then. And so we're just like whispering in the bathroom.
No, I'm not always asleep. I'm in bed.
And she hears all of it.
So like, I'm going to sleep.
Yeah, no, I appreciate those conversations too.
That's a bit more like a random memory.
Yeah, no, that's so good. I think for me, it's not like a specific memory, but I think just whenever like me and my friends would do something that was like unexpected, like, I don't know. Like, there was this one year when I think it was like after an access or something like that. It was like late, and I think like there were only a few members from my life group there, and they like, we didn't really want to eat something. We didn't really like have work to do, so we were like, why don't we go to like what are those things called? Why don't we go to an arcade? And then
Pinball Pete's?
No,
Nichols Arcade?
no, off campus. It was like somewhere far.
Like Dave
And
and
we just-
Buster's?
Yeah. We went to Dave and Buster's randomly in the middle of the night, and then we just like played games there, and then came back on campus. But you know, like just things that like I honestly feel like the things where you feel like you could only really do if you were in college,
Yeah.
and then like because we're
Hey,
like
no one's judging you if you're 30 and still going to Dave and
Buster's.
Buster's.
That's
It's fine.
I might be, but yeah, you know, like it's just like like unexpected thing, and then it ends up being just like fun time that you just spend with your friends. And then,
So you like the spontaneous things.
yeah, it was just kind of like, when you have nothing to do, like I don't like the whole like, should we do this? Should we do that? Like I like it when someone's just like, we should do this, and then we just like go and do it. So then, so that's one of the memories I had, and it was fun. It was also because it was all girls, so I also liked that more.
Yeah, that probably made it more fun.
Yeah. That was during 4 a.m. Sorry, Adrian.
I think, okay, the first things that come to my mind are obviously the trips, like Cancun, Toronto.
Yeah.
But okay, besides the trips, I think a lot of like the smaller moments also I'll never forget. Like one of them was when, lots of all-nighters or like late night studying sessions. I remember South Quad. Or okay, I remember me and Hannah stayed up really late in East Hall studying, like last semester. I remember there was one night where I was like having a mental breakdown in like the psych atrium in East Hall, and then Rosie dropped off a blueberry donut from Dom's, and it's the fact that she remembered that I really like the blueberry cake donut, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know she remembered. And that was really great. I think me and Rosie did a lot of spontaneous like eating out together. We'd like randomly go out to eat, and then like I would just be having like a really hard day, or she'd be having a really hard day, and we'd be like, yeah, screw it, I hate school, we don't need to study anymore, and then we would just go eat at like Ajishin and like One World. And then what else? Oh, I remember my first ever TC Summit. I was so scared. I knew Sumi and Esther left. And Areem had not joined TC yet. I just felt very terrified and alone. But I remember, so TC Summit's from Friday to Saturday, and then Friday night, I remember Sumi gave me a card before she left, and I didn't want to read it because I knew I'd start crying. And then I didn't read it until it was like a week or two by then. I just had it with me, and then Friday night I read it. I just started bawling my eyes out. I think it was again like in the letter she said something that was like, like a couple weeks ago you asked me like what's the difference between like joy and happiness, and then she gave her whatever answer. I think it just really hit me at the right time. And then
She could have said anything. She was so bawling.
no, that's not true. Okay, like kind of true. Yeah, I think it was just the idea of like, wow, I never felt so like cared for by people. I think in high school, friendships felt very transactional, whereas in college it felt very like, there's no limit to like how much I could be cared for, how much I could be loved.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I think like moments where I felt cared for were really like, I'll remember them because I feel like I didn't get many of them. So I think those moments really stand out to me. I think similar to Areem, just like moments where I felt like I had no responsibilities and we just did whatever, like those are really fun. Like the day after they announced that like COVID, like we were canceled for COVID, Matt and Frank and I, we like invited Kim Von over and we baked a cake together, and then we were like, oh, surprise, it's actually your birthday cake, and then we put candles in it and sang. And I thought that was really, it was just like random, like really random things. And I think this year, like all of our random dinners together, like the ones where like they were for no reason or because it was a K-pop celebrity's birthday and I wanted to celebrate it.
Yeah.
Oh yes. I remember we got sushi for Rosé's birthday.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, just like, random dinners where I made my roommates just celebrate random things with me. Just like, celebrating the normalcy of life because it was a very normal year, of course. What else did I enjoy? I enjoyed the feeling after an exam where I felt very free and I would go and buy a whole pizza for myself and just eat the entire thing. Those were good moments.
There's so many around food.
Yeah, so many food moments.
Like, for me, studying really late freshman year for Orgo and just suffering with so many people, but then always getting Jimmy John's with Allison at like 1 a.m. Like, that's why I love Jimmy John's. It's 100% just associated memories.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I remember. I think this was after our midterms, and then it was also near Valentine's Day when me and Hannah finished our exams. We went to North Quad and we watched Crazy Rich Asians together, and then we also ate Haagen-Dazs pineapple coconut, like a pina colada flavored ice cream. And then
So
we
specific.
filmed. Yes, I will never forget. It was so fun. It was also so random. And then I still have a video of this, but we made a deal that whoever got married first would have to pay for the other person's plane ticket for wherever we were going to travel to together.
Oh, wow, that's so sweet.
Yeah. Hannah, I still think it's going to be you, but we'll see.
I don't know, circumstantially right now.
I feel like Hannah's going to like meet someone and just get married like I don't know, like 2 months later.
That's another podcast. One of it is related or corresponds with like after a very stressful thing, this helped. So yeah, those are
The like relief.
yeah, feeling.
There was this one time I was with Hala and Lie in Blue Lab, and we were in Ross just having a normal like Blue Lab meeting, and then we heard there was free food, and so we literally pretended to be Ross people, like we had entire identities, and like we got through like this whole conversation with the person at the desk giving out food. And it wasn't until they asked for our IDs that we said, oh wait, we forgot something, and just like ran out. But it was because Hala was so good at pretending and acting that we like constructed this whole story about why we were there and why we were
You
early.
didn't get your food.
But we never got the food.
Oh
And we
my
worked so
God.
hard for it. It was. I just remember it being really funny.
I would also say one of my favorite memories is after freshman year summer. I feel like that was
We were so like
oh my gosh, Mayo trip.
happy and
that wasn't my
carefree.
memory, but
Oh.
But the Mayo trip was honestly one of my favorite trips.
Yeah.
It was so like filling. It kind of felt like a church retreat. Maybe because we worshipped for like 3 hours every night, and poor Ronnie just had to like sit there and watch.
oh yeah, Ronnie went with you guys. Oh my
Wait,
She's
god.
like,
I just
people are freaking crazy.
I just remember playing Scrabble. Oh my gosh, I remember you guys surprised me for my birthday.
Yeah.
That was the first year people remember my
Right.
birthday.
Yeah, we didn't realize how significant it was for you.
Yeah.
It was like we had like planned a cake and everything.
Yeah. I remember sleeping over at motel at a Reem's subletted place,
Yeah.
like every night, and then going to work looking like a zombie, but it's fine because worth it. Yeah. Oh, I'll never forget. We cooked together once. We made fried rice together. That was the first time I'd ever seen someone put an egg into their fried rice. Like, not like scrambled, but like literally
On
mixed
top.
in with the
Oh
rice.
yeah, that helps a lot.
And now I always do it. It's amazing. That
Oh, that's why
changed
you do it?
my life.
Trust.
Yeah,
I'm
because
glad
when
it was such a big influence.
because growing up, I'd only eat like scrambled eggs in my That's like the way that Chinese fried rice
Yeah,
is
you
done.
scramble the eggs separately and you put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned how like a lot of our good memories are after hard periods because we feel a little bit of relief. But I guess what were those hard lessons that you learned during college? Or I guess, how did you grow? What were some things that you, I don't know, developed?
What's to start on that juicy question?
I think for me, the big difference between myself in high school and myself in college is like my identity in like Christ. So I feel like in high school, I didn't know who I was and I didn't realize that identity was a thing. So I was just like, yeah, whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm saying, whatever I'm doing is like, that's who I am. But I think in college, since my identity is like so rooted in Christ and that's just who I can be, I think I'm more confident with what I'm doing. Like I feel more like secure when I'm around other people, I guess. I'm not like comparing or like judging or whatever. Maybe I'm still judging.
Not out loud. Not as much out loud.
It's okay, we all
But yeah, I just feel like whenever something hard happens or something, I have to tackle a mental issue or I have to tackle like a physical issue, it's just so much easier knowing that like I'm already like safe in Christ. So like nothing else can really harm me in that way. So I think it was hard because a lot of times like I forget it and then that's when like hard things happen. But like when I remember, life is not easy, but easier to handle.
Yeah. I would say mine is like kind of similar. I think coming into college, I had this talk with Kristen when I met up with her yesterday, but like thinking about how like I don't know, like I feel like I haven't changed that much from at first I was like, oh, I feel like I haven't changed that much from freshman year. But I think just my perspective on the world and how much it does impact me and like how other people's perceptions of me impact me, which then just like continues to like shape who I am based on like how other people see me too. I think like being able to talk to people who like have had different life experiences than me, or like even like taking like classes that are more about like social issues and talking more and like having to talk about like my own privileges or my own like disadvantages or my own like insecurities about like how much I know about the world, because I think I came in from high school and I was like, oh, like I made it into Michigan, like I'm a pretty good student, like I don't know, like I felt like I came in like thinking like, oh, like it's just school again, you know, like high school you just learn things and college I'll also just learn things and then leave after 4 years. But I think college definitely did shape a lot more of me wanting to think more critically and also being more face to face with like, especially with like the major that I chose, like being more face to face with a lot of the things that I took for granted in my own life, and also like recognizing that I'm not, I don't know, like that I'm not someone who can just coast by and not care about it. And I think a lot of it was shaped by like, yeah, like my identity as a Christian, but also like in a lot of my like personality and like the people that I'm with all the time, like I think it does shape a lot of my understanding of like the world and like making me feel like, oh, like is this like something that I can really do, or is this something that I can really like be a part of in like my career or even like after college, you know? And so yeah, I think that was like kind of the biggest struggle, or what was it, the biggest like lesson that I learned is just like, oh, like I think I really need to be more face to face with a lot of these things in order for me to actually care about them, and in order for me to actually like do something and be more critical about like my own life. And like if I want to go into a helping profession, then I have to be not just looking at other people but also looking at myself. And I think like there were a lot of moments where I was like, I don't like myself because of these things. And so I had to like really like think about it, and I'm still thinking about it. I'm still like grappling with a lot of things about like my own identity, like especially like this past year of like being an Asian, being female, being Christian, being like all these things, like what does it mean, and like how am I supposed to deal with those issues. But I think it is something that I did not think I was gonna go into a field where I would have to really think about these issues that much. So it has changed a lot since like freshman year. So.
And I think like I feel similarly, and I think that shows that like college did its job for you. Like I think the job of college is to teach you the realities of the world in some way, but also give you the skills to imagine like what the world can be, like in a better way. But first, of course, you have to face the realities of like what are the factors that actually lie underneath why certain people are successful and why certain people aren't. And I think also similarly, like coming to college, coming from a pretty like Asian dominated and like obviously not as bad as the coasts, but like still pretty competitive. Like especially on our Science Olympiad team, we looked down so much on other schools that like didn't do as well as us, right? And we never considered, maybe we considered it, but it just never sunk in that our parents were all top level engineers who bought insane amounts of material for us and like helped us build all these things. They're all educated enough in these subjects to coach us, versus a lot of these or like extracurriculars are originally meant to just like help people in like lower income and like less privileged areas for the kids to be like interested in the sciences and to like, you know, be exposed to these things and the possibilities that they could go to college and stuff. While for us it was such like a competitive thing, and there's just so much looking down on people who like weren't as like successful, and we just never really thought about the privileges that came with that, like why we were so successful. Like yeah, we were smart, we worked hard, but like it was just nothing that really crossed our minds. And yeah, I think definitely taking those classes and realizing more how like race and gender and all these things affect like what makes someone successful. I think there was this one time we went, was it during a retreat? When we went to did we go to Detroit?
For a
retreat? No, I don't think so.
Oh my god, what was it? It wasn't for freshman missions. But I think it was during the weekend that Austin came up.
Oh, it was for
Ignite?
Yeah.
Ignite. Yeah, but there was a field trip in Ignite.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
People
remember,
chose different
yeah,
places to
there
go
was
to.
like an activity where like they made us like all stand in a row, and then we were all like blocking this like path between a person and the end, and that person had to like walk through and not touch anyone's shoulders, which was basically impossible. And so like all of those people representing the blockades of someone coming from poverty into the middle class, especially who were like people of color. So it would represent like the bus route doesn't go to their house, like the water is not clean, like you don't have transportation, like all those things that we would never think of, and we just assume that like, you know, our immigrant families came here with nothing, they can do it, so you can too. And I think growing up and like buying into that narrative was like definitely one of the largest shifts I had to face. That like just because my family was able to be successful doesn't mean that like it's a very fair system at all.
Okay, before I talk about a hard lesson that I learned, I just want to say another favorite memory. I just kept thinking about this. I really zoned out when Eric was giving the prompts. So I was just thinking about this past year. I remember the first time you baked oatmeal raisin cookies. I was
That was your favorite memory?
in your room, and Erica walked in with a plate of 2 cookies, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was like a very motherly gesture. Like my mom doesn't even do that for me.
You did that for me too.
Yeah.
You were like, I'm a child again.
Yeah. I was just like, oh my gosh, I love this. Yeah. Anyway, that was another favorite memory. I don't know why. That just really sticks out to me.
Nice.
Random.
Okay.
Anyway, a hard lesson I learned was, trying to think. I think for me, I went through a lot of personal healing from high school. Yeah, I came in freshman year. I was like, man. I just used dark humor to cope with everything. Like, I didn't trust anyone, didn't like myself, didn't like, yeah, I just didn't want to let anyone in, didn't want to, I didn't trust girlfriends at all. Yeah, I was very doubtful of Christianity. I was like, they're all hypocrites, they're all self-righteous, like, you know? Yeah, so I think a lesson I learned was, that my worth is intrinsic and that, that that self-esteem and self-hatred are two sides of the same coin. So telling myself to just love myself more is not going to boost my self-confidence. If anything, I think loving others, loving God, not focusing on myself. Because I think once you are so self-focused, you just start thinking, oh my gosh, I could do this better. Why am I not better at this? You know what I mean? But I think being more like outward focused and I think how to phrase it, like, I mean, honestly, I think I needed to heal from my own experiences, but I think I was also taught to how to receive love and how to love others. Yeah, I think that's as concise as I can put it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And I think that goes back to what I learned as well. Just like my worth doesn't come from other people, and like I'm a huge people pleaser.
Yeah.
And so for me, like knowing that I don't have to please them for them to like me, and because I had a lot of passive aggressive friends in high school where I felt like I had to please them in order for them to be my friend.
Right.
And so I think overcoming that and knowing that my worth is intrinsic, and that's beautiful, and I don't have to think about that anymore. And I mean, I still people please, but working on it.
Steps.
Yeah. No amount of affirmation from other people is going to make myself see me differently if I don't understand that my worth doesn't come from them. So, yes. Yeah. And also, girls, just know your worth. Know that no man deserves you.
She always says this in this tone, so it's always like so much like. I will. Don't worry.
Yeah. Don't settle. Don't let a guy tell you that you're not good enough.
It's a hard thing.
No, I think don't let anyone tell you that you're not good enough.
I think it's a hard thing where, like, a lot of times that specific lesson is when you need to
Actually go
suffer
through,
to learn.
Yeah.
Because we were also talking about how, like, a lot of our good memories are, like, after, like, something really hard happened. And so junior year, when I was going through my second breakup, but this is, like, my first real relationship, I feel like the best, time was like a few months after when I was getting over it, and that's when it really felt like, you know, God was super present and I was like so happy and free, and I never like had that level of like, not low-key, like post-breakup euphoria is like a drug. It's such a high. But I would never have thought that like I would have put so much worth in another person's opinion of me, or felt as if I could not live without another person, because that just so was not my personality. And if any of my friends had like done anything like that, I would have like slapped them and been like, who the heck, like, what the heck are you doing? Like, who the heck do you think he is?
Yeah.
But I think it's so different when you put that level of like trust in another person, where like it kind of like your brain gets clouded in a way. It's like you're not thinking clearly, and so you have to like suffer to like learn that lesson. And of course, it's better to learn the lesson when older people tell you, but sometimes it's okay to mess up and just suffer and heal. everyone gets through it.
That's life.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Breakups
it's not
suck, but
bad.
like they're the best thing that will happen to you. So almost not the best thing, but a lot of times they are.
In
the
like
best thing for you,
hindsight,
yeah.
it could
Yeah.
be something like Also, I just wanted to say, I think a lot of people. This is one advice that I don't want to give freshmen when they come in, because I feel like it can be a bit harmful at times, but people use it a lot. It's that college is the best 4 years of your life, and so like enjoy it while you can, which I do agree. Enjoy college while you can, but I think like hyping up college to say this should be the best 4 years of your life, and then if you don't like it, or if you feel like, oh, like it didn't go exactly the way I expected, then like I feel like that's not like you shouldn't have these expectations about college, because whatever you're gonna get out of college is what you put in. And so honestly, like you just have to like go into college, like don't have these like high expectations of like, oh my gosh, I have all this freedom now and I can like just do whatever I want and stuff like that. Like it's a time to just like explore like your own, like all of us have said, like explore your own identity, explore like who you are as a person. And I think like no matter what that is, and if you do describe it as the best 4 years of your life, great. If you don't, like that's also fine too. Like you have so much more years of your life ahead of you. Like why should that be the best 4 years of your life? And so just like just enjoy college for what it is. Don't have like these
Expectations.
super high expectations for it, or else like you just can't enjoy it. And so college is good, but it's good.
And a lot of times it's still miserable in the sense of you're like, because you're learning about yourself, a lot of times it's not until you're older and happier with yourself and more confident in yourself that you actually like are more at peace with your life.
Yeah.
And so it's not like your ears just get worse as you get older.
Yeah, it's like, wow, that was the best 4 years of my life. The
yeah.
next are gonna suck.
You are not a slave to capitalism for the next 60 years. Please don't believe that.
Well, a room really jumped the gun on my next question. It was like, what is your biggest regret? And then the flip side of that is, what advice would you give for other people, younger people going into college?
I don't think about regrets often, so this is hard.
Yeah.
I think for me, regret's an interesting one, because even though I regret things, like looking back, I'm like, oh, my life would have been better if I hadn't done that or hadn't said that. It's like I know that going through that has brought me to where I am now, and like we just talked about, like making the mistakes will like teach you something. That being said, I think like some relationships I definitely would rather have not had.
Yeah.
Like certain people who turned out to be toxic, or like, I don't like that word. Certain people
Harmful.
who turned out to be harmful to me and my growth, or they just never made me feel good, but I kept trying to be friends with them or something like that. I think that like it taught me a lot, but it did expend a lot of my energy, which I didn't need to go through. So my advice would be, I think you become who you hang out with. That's an old cliche, but yeah, choose your friends wisely, because like you don't need to put up with friends who make you feel lonely, or like make you do things for them, or make you feel like you have to do or be a certain way. And there are people out there who will, care for you for who you are, and even if, they still think you're weird, like, that's fine.
Compliments.
I was just gonna say, like, I think all of my advice are just cliches, but like, there's a reason why they're cliches, right? So
They apply to so many people.
Yeah, I just feel like in general, not that I regret it, because I think compared to you guys, I feel like I didn't have as traumatic relationships in my college experience. But like, I think Granted, I didn't really branch out in my relationships. I was friends with like just a few people, so it's not like I was like that spreading myself out. But like I think for me, one of the things I always say is I do wish I had a more diverse group of friends, not just in like a ethnic like race kind of way, but like just in general, like people with different life experiences than me, and getting to know more people from my classes, I think was something I do kind of wish I had more opportunities with during my undergrad years. And then also just like I think also just knowing when, if you are an introvert, it's okay if you aren't always out with friends, or like it's okay if you're not like a social butterfly and just can't handle like being in like large groups and things, and you just want to like be by yourself or away from people. Like that's okay, and that should like you shouldn't have to please like extroverts by like trying to go out all the time. And I think a lot of, not saying like people forced me to do it a lot, but there were this like social expectation that you like always have to be out late at night, which I don't like going out late at night. I know that now, but since I'm a senior, no one tells me what to do, so it's fine. I like those things. Like I think if you are introverted and just need more space, like it's okay. Like just, I wish I learned that I think earlier, so that I didn't have to feel like, oh my gosh, like if I don't go out here, then I can't make friends and I can't do things. But yeah, just be proud of being an introvert too. It's okay. So.
I think one of my regrets is not being more spiritually aware and present sophomore and junior year. Well, just I guess in general, I think looking back, those years felt very rushed. Like even both in like my scheduling and the time I had carved out. I think things freshman year and like senior year that I do now, like even like, you know, waking up early and just like sitting in silence and listening to God, or like going running, or like exercising, or like looking at my plant or watering my plants or whatever it is. Sometimes
watching them
You want to
grow
look at those?
Or die.
But I think there are like spiritual practices, and the job of spiritual practices is to remind you like that you are human, like what it means to be human, like what it means for there to be like a God, or like something divine in the world that you're connected to, and what it means that you have like a relationship to God, and like what that means for the world. And I feel like that constant reorientation every day is really important for you to like not be just like rushing and all your days blending together, which I feel like a lot of people felt during quarantine. It definitely felt last summer, but I think I really appreciated that both like senior and freshman year, where it was like a lot of, you know, like purpose and like orientation and just like thoughtfulness in everything I did, versus just like, I felt a lot of sophomore junior year was like, you know, you rush from this to this and you do this event and you do this, but you're never really mentally there. Like it just like felt like a blur in that way, and you like enjoy things but you were just always like exhausted. Like I think that's what I would regret.
So for you, it was like a full circle. Yeah. Freshman to senior year.
Yeah. I don't have any regrets in the sense of like, I am a firm believer in learning through like going through your mess ups. Like I think my parents would always be like, don't do this, don't do that. Like they think that they can prevent me and shelter me, that I will just grow up and have this like perfect stable lifestyle. No, I think I'm really thankful for all the quote unquote mess ups, which I think I learned a lot from. But I do regret not branching out more in my interests, like taking more like graphic design or art classes earlier on, or even joining like a dance, not a group. I don't want to do a group. Oh, sorry.
Dance class?
A dance class. Yeah, I think I would have really wished I did like a hip hop dance class earlier. Yeah, just going more. Yeah, okay. Senior year, I think I really learned to value outside interests. Yeah, I wish I still like bred for fun freshman through junior year. study.
No one's
You,
sad.
you can join book club now.
Yes. What was I gonna say? Oh, advice. Yeah, I think. Okay. See, this is the problem. I would say like, yeah, your life isn't revolved around studying and blah blah, but I can't say that if I hadn't studied so hard freshman to junior year that I would be where I'm at now in terms of like. I think I had internships that, yes, I think they were God-given, but not gonna lie, I also worked my butt off for them. And I'm really thankful that I had those opportunities, and I think I'm very happy and thankful for having my job lined up next year and like getting to do grad school. Like, yes, again, like I know that they were God-given. Like, I don't think I had expected any of it. It's not like if you work hard, you'll definitely get it. But I do think that, like, I mean, when the opportunity comes, I think you also need to have certain qualifications. Like, I also have to have certain knowledge to be able to, like, complete those things well. And I think, so in that sense, like, I always go back and forth where it's like, do I regret, like, all those late night studying and, like, maybe giving up like hours of sleep or like certain social events to study? Like, I don't know. I really, because I don't know. I don't know for sure if I would be in the same place right now if I had done things differently. But I will say that studying isn't everything, and make sure you spend time with your friendships. Don't take your friendships for granted. Make time for people, fight for relationships. And do fun things. I think, okay, work hard, fast, efficiently, and then do fun things. Yeah, I think I wish I worked faster freshman and sophomore year. Yeah. So I think senior year, I think I still did a lot. Or, I don't know, classes were easier. I don't know, whatever. Just figure it out. You'll look back. You'll also
just do what you need to do.
Yeah,
It's fine.
yeah. Just mess up. Study too much. Study too little. It's fine. It's fine. You'll live. Yeah.
And I think along those lines, like, everyone has a different level of satisfaction. Because, like, if I put in, like, 1 hour of studying and I get, like, a grade, and then someone puts in, like, 10 hours of studying and they get the same grade, like, they'll, like, will feel the same level of satisfaction. And so I feel like...
You're just naturally smarter than them.
No! Okay, I didn't mean, like, me. I meant, like, an example.
A hypothetical person.
Yeah, like, some, like, people, like, if you put in this much effort versus this much effort, they'll feel more satisfaction. And, like, it doesn't matter what the result is. It's the effort that they put in that normally will give them the satisfaction.
Yeah.
So I think, like, you can't say, like, oh, do, like, 3 hours of studying and 3 hours of play. I feel like, it really depends on that. But I guess maybe that's the advice. And, like, figure out where your satisfaction level is and don't go above that because you're wasting time.
I think, honestly, for me, I just liked studying.
Yeah, and I don't
And,
think,
for
like,
some people, like,
yeah.
hated studying. It's like, that's fine, too.
Yeah, and,
So,
like,
yeah.
people shouldn't tell you, oh, you're studying too much, like, you should go play. Like,
Yeah.
if that's, like, what's, like, enjoyable to you, then I don't find a problem with that.
I think the big thing is don't compare with others. Like,
Yeah.
wow, like this person like only studied this much and they were able to like do better than me. You know, like it's just kind of like, no, I think also in the sense of like,
Don't compare your internships.
yeah, so just don't compare yourself with. Obviously, it's hard, and obviously people will still do it. Like it's just like a thing
It's
that
natural,
like
yeah.
our society has. But like, you know, like when you compare yourself with others, like in the end, hopefully everyone does eventually find out like it's really pointless because you're gonna end up in a different place than another person, and that's just life. Like it's not gonna be, it shouldn't be like a competition between like who is more successful in the end.
Yeah.
Also, people just want different things. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people in like SI and CS often think that like, oh, if you get an internship in FANG, like Facebook, Apple, whatever, Amazon, Google, it's like, oh, that means you made it. And then they look down on any other internship, and I'm like, bro, no, maybe that person just really wanted to work for that nonprofit. Don't look down on them.
Yeah.
Like, people just want different things.
Good advice.
Yes.
Oh, I have one more.
Oh,
I think this is also kind of personal for me, but I feel like it applies to a lot of people. Is that like, to have like a creative outlet outside of like whatever work you do. So I think like creating is something that like God does, and we need to do to feel human and alive sometimes. At least for me personally, if I'm not like writing or like doing something where I'm like creating something that's not for work, just because I enjoy it or I like care about it, or I'm like producing something instead of consuming a lot of information, which I think we do with like social media and like watching things. I think if we consume too much and we don't create, it's like we can often feel like unbalanced. But that's also just me. So.
Any last words you would like to say to our
Thank you
viewers?
for listening. Podcast.
Hopefully this isn't the
rate
last
us in
one.
the comments.
Oh.
Okay.
How are we gonna do another one?
We can do a Zoom one.
Oh my
And
gosh, we
record
could
the
do
Zoom.
Oh.
Yeah.
We hope
Also,
we're mildly
I would-
entertaining.
Yeah. Also, if anything, I feel like in the future it would just be for us to catch up and see
Yeah.
where everyone is in life.
So stop listening.
Good talk, friends.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Oh, I don't know why I